You want to do Delta Kit, and you just bought a TG Faust vest. Well, likely not an original, but a repro from Shekkin Gears.
This floppy thing.
This made in China reproduction, as I've mentioned in a lot of previous videos, leaves quite a bit to be desired. But it is one of the most affordable replicas on the market, and really one of the only ones that's readily available without a lead time. And you guys know me around here. While I tend to go for high quality reproductions when I can't get originals, I respect the hustle of going for something that's a little bit more cost effective. So today on the Gear.Locker, we're showing you guys 4 ways that you can take this and turn it into a beautiful replica. We're gonna go in order of easy to medium to hard to that's a little more work than the average person can do. But all of these things are going to help elevate the TG Faust replica vest and make you and your kit a little bit more accurate. And if you've been watching these videos, I think you can tell what the first one is. We're sharpieing it up. That's right, the white thread is not a correct piece. As you can tell, even from far away, that bright white thread stands out pretty disgustingly. This is not something that was ever seen on the Delta Force stuff. G&B Solutions theorizes that it was cheaply dyed black thread that faded with some time and of course some sunlight and use. So we're gonna take this and bring it to a more original state, not this kind of, brand spanking new looking thing with bright white thread. It's really ugly. And if you go and check out Delta Kit guys online, you'll notice this a little more often than we should. This is without a doubt going to take you a very long time. In fact, probably one of the longest of any of the processes we're gonna do today. But what you're going to do is, again, take your Sharpie marker and just gently go over. That looks a little bit more grayed out. It's not perfect. And of course, going for all black thread, which, stay tuned, might be a better way to go in the long run, but this will work in a pinch. The Sharpie almost gives it sort of a grayish purplish hue, and while it isn't that much of a difference, you can still tell this bright white compared to this more subdued grayish thread is a considerable improvement. I've only done this front panel here, of course making sure I get inside the Velcro spots too, but it does again have that kind of reddish purplish hue. It's not that noticeable when all the gear is going to be on it, and it even kind of gives like a dirt worn in look. So is it lipstick on a pig? You tell me, but let's finish out the rest of this vest. All right, so after you've come down from your high of Sharpie fumes, you're gonna get something that looks like this. Just to show you, this is what the inside of one looked like. Very bright white, and here it's a little bit more muted. Again, show you inside versus outside. I'd recommend doing the inside as well, but I'm gonna do that off camera because we gotta get moving to number 2. Now, number 2 is again something that anybody can do. It is very inexpensive to do. You're gonna need a Sharpie or some kind of writing utensil and a USGI sleep mat or any other kind of foam. EVA foam would even be a good option for this. You want something that's closed cell and a little bit thicker. The original had soft armor, and that's not something I have right now. And odds are, finding a soft armor that's gonna fit this perfectly, no matter where you are, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. So we're gonna cut some foam out to give it a little bit more shape and rigidity so that when it's worn, it fits a little bit better. Okay, so, and all we're gonna do to start out is trace around the edges. Again, black Sharpie is what I'm gonna use just so I can see it clearly, but it doesn't hurt to also have something heavy to lay down on it just so you can, keep it from moving. It's almost a perfect fit going this way. And what you'll find is on the real soft armor pieces, they go kind of right above the neckline and they don't extend into the shoulder area. So you can kind of cut it straight across here, give yourself a little bit of a lip, but I'm still gonna trace out this neckline so that when I do cut it out, I can constantly adjust. It's always better to give yourself too much and trim away than cut too much off. And with the magic of editing, we're here. I wanted to remind you guys, when you do cut on the inside just by a hair to give yourself enough room to, actually fit it in. Okay, this is boring. Here's the magic of editing. Bam. Okay, here we go. We have the body armor piece cut out, and it looks like it's gonna be a good fit, although I think I'm gonna need to trim a little bit more off these shoulders, but let's try to fit it in and see. And already, the structure that we gave this thing is going to not only make it look a lot better when it fits, but again, it can always be adjusted. It'll flex with time, and of course, it'll break in. But again, this is a little bit more realistic as it's actually got something in it. Now, if you wanted to go a step further, you could make a front plate to go right into here. However you wanted to do that, maybe that's something I can explore in a future video, making a replica of the TG Faust plate, but there's more to do. Let's do the back, and then we'll jump on to number 3. All right, we've officially finished up that part. So that was number 2. Now, number 3 is the first where you're going to need some external tools. Is it difficult? No, you could learn how to do this in less than an hour. But you're going to need a sewing machine. And before all you non-sewing people click off, stay tuned because I might have some news for you in particular. But for the keen eyes, you'll notice that this webbing right here is actually a fake webbing. What do I mean by that? Webbing has a code, certain dashes in certain colors in certain places on the webbing, particularly mil-spec stuff, means it is a certain type of webbing with a certain load rate, and that's very particular to know. This right here is a fake version of that in that it is a cheaper webbing with the yellow stitch lines actually just a stitch line and not woven in. Like right here, this mil-4088 is a type 7 webbing, where this is, I don't even know what. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this right here and replace it with actual mil-spec webbing. It's a minor detail, but one that's going to elevate it and have it go from a cheap repro to something with a little more oomph and seriousness. I cannot wait for you guys to get to number 4. That one's going to be pretty good. Regardless, let's get to removing this. You can work with a seam ripper, but shout out to Joe, especially when working with Cordura. They gave me this tip. You can use an X-Acto knife or any kind of razor blade, and it will kind of make it easier to not tear through the Cordura. If you've done any work with these, you know that this pointed end tends to pierce through the fabric, and this is so sharp down here that it'll slice through it. This is at least a little bit more safe. I'm gonna get it started with this, and then maybe I'll switch to this. Let's see. All right, let's see. It is really tightly woven in, which is unfortunate. But all we need is a few, like see, it's already getting looser. I'm gonna try to go in between. And again, I'm gonna be very careful. I don't care if I damage this top piece right here, because this is getting thrown out anyway. God knows what this is. But yeah, as you can see underneath, I am getting through it very, very easily. I know you guys don't have the best view. All right, the lighting still isn't amazing, but as you can see right under here, I can kind of just glide it along, angling slightly upwards so that I don't pierce this material right here, although it'll be covered, so if I do, it's not the end of the world. Already, in a mere matter of seconds, look at that. I already have that huge part up, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 more of those, and we're home free. Okay, this is off right here. I'm gonna show you side by side what the difference is. As you can tell, it's not like that major from far away, but up close, there's a considerable difference in the weave of the material, the thickness. It's just entirely different webbing. So why would they try to fake it? These aren't that expensive, but let's fix it. So now that I've got this off, we're gonna head over to the sewing machine, cut a certain length of this, which we can use the scrap piece to help us measure out, and let's sew this right on to that little flap there. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very exclusive look at the studio of TGL equipment. This is where I make all of my stuff. A lot of the stuff that comes to you guys on this Consew 205. But we're gonna cut this up. Well, this is the old one. We're gonna utilize this new webbing right here. Let's figure out exactly how much we need. It looks like they do just about a 1/2 inch over, 10 to 23. So looks like we've got about 13.5 inches. Again, the ends are folded over. So as long as we get roughly, let's see, roughly 11.5 inches on here, and then a little bit extra hanging off the side, we should be okay. This machine can power through it. Your machine, you will need to know the mileage of that. But yeah, let's trim some of this material off right now. 13.5. Let's see, did we line it up right? Yeah, that looks pretty good. And we're gonna take it to the machine and we're going to fold the ends under just by a little bit. Of course, after we burn the ends. Can never forget that. Looks like, oh, this is from the factory. I'm gonna burn this end, melt it a little bit, just so it doesn't fray. It'll be folded under, so we'll get a nice clean folded edge. Man, if I really want to do sewing tutorials in the future, which I'm not saying I do, but I'm gonna need to get better at that. Ad-libbing while I'm trying to focus on this. My Patreon guys know I do weekend sewing, so I'll get on the machine and record some kind of just talking, low intensity videos, more just, you know, getting together and talking to the guys. We also do live streams. Now, the challenge with this is going to be getting this to just be sewn on this flap here. Oh my God, this is very obnoxious to do. And what I could do is I could actually take this off and then sew this back on. I'm gonna try to avoid doing that. I wanna save all that heavy loading and undoing a lot of the vest for part 4. So, all right, if I go back to this one, we'll take a look. What are the intervals? Looks like they did it, it's not consistent, but it looks like they did it about every 3 inches. And I'm sorry, if you're not a sewing person, this probably seems ridiculously boring to you, but This is the kind of stuff I like to watch, and it's my video, so click off if it really bothers you that much. Bam, I'm just marking it so I know exactly where to sew. Okay, let's start with one of the ends first, because that is undoubtedly going to be the most annoying. Black thread in here. Let's hope I have enough. I should have enough. I don't see why I wouldn't. Okay, let's roll. Oh, I need to increase my stitch length. Not that it matters too much for something like this. All right, there you go. Got that on. Now, let's go around and do the rest of these. Very easy, but a subtle upgrade. And before you guys go saying, oh, the fourth one's gonna be too hard, let's talk about something else with this that I might wanna do in the future, but for now, I'm not going to. So this is on the front. Hoping you guys can hear me, so I'll pause for a second. This is on the front plate bag, or soft armor bag, I should say, and plate bag. The back of it also has one of these, but that's gonna require you to disassemble the stitching on the rear of it, which we might get to once we get to that final upgrade, because again, that's all a little bit more intensive, and I wanna make sure that I'm not scaring you guys by doing that in step number 3. But let's go for one more. All right, my friends, and that is a way better piece of webbing that's on there. Okay, so we've made some great progress to the strike vest. It looks way better already. But what you'll know, a lot of guys did modifications to these. Well, the riggers made mods. And this mostly came, of course, with the Velcro and all, but in the addition of pouches in some places. I'm planning on utilizing this strike vest for repros in the future, and also for some Panama stuff. I'm only gonna do 2 major pouch additions, and those come on either side of the piece here. Really just the front plate bag. And these are these radio pouches here. I just finished making these. Got some vintage Nexus ladder lock buckle slider things and a 1000 denier Cordura. And this is going to go right on the side. As you can see, it is a perfect fit. These might look familiar because these are the exact same ones on the strike vests, the AWS chest rigs. Now, this part 4 to the modification is definitely the most intensive. I understand these can be a little bit challenging to make, especially if you don't have a physical reference in hand to go off of, so I wanted to offer the opportunity to you guys. These kinds of sewing modifications to these strike vests. If it's something that you want me to do, let me know. TGL equipment can be open for commissions, but I'm thinking of offering a service where you can send in your strike vest replica to me, and I can attach whatever pouches you want. Or, as time goes on and I end up making these things, I can just sell them outright with that. But these wouldn't be too bad to do. It, of course, would take some time, but let me know. Regardless, I think it's gonna be really cool to see this all put together, so stick around for that, even if you're not into the sewing part of it. And let's attach these right here. The key thing that we're gonna have to do differently though is not sew through both sides, because of course we have to have the soft armor go in there, but we're gonna need to open this side up. You can, again, use a seam ripper or X-Acto knife or whatever to open this up. Again, do it gently, but right around the corner, just so we can fold the back half backwards underneath the main portion. So we just have one front flap to use. Let's do that, and then I'll bring it back over to the machine and we'll get working on it. I've got them opened up to where I can flip it open. I still gotta clean up all this thread, but that shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm gonna do one side on camera and then allow you guys to imagine what's gonna happen with the other side. So, the way I've seen it is it's been lined up pretty close to this edge here, almost every single time I've seen it. Back, bada bing, bada boom, let's get this sewn on here. Okay, I promise I'm not cheating you guys out of content. My phone ran out of storage, so I had to delete some stuff to open it back up. Now, I've sewed this one on. I'll show you guys the other one when I do that instead. All I'm doing right now is finishing up the edges. All right, so as I had mentioned in the part that's now deleted, I'm gonna have to backstitch, go over the stitches that are already in it to maybe, hopefully, lock it in. I'm trying to stay really close to the ends. I am getting this as a nice tight and clean stitch. The black looks so good. I should just make my own entirely and take you guys through that. All right, this side should be allegedly closed back up. We'll have to, again, pull out some of that loose thread, but yeah, this is looking pretty darn good. Okay, so we're gonna sew this on now. Same exact process as the last one, which you didn't see, but that's fine. You'll just have to trust me on it. Go. You guys hear that squeaking? It is my bobbin winder. I need to oil it. Go, give it a push. You now officially have 2 pouches on this thing. We're gonna sew this end flap back together, just like you saw me do, and I'll meet you guys back over at the table. And just like that, we've already made huge improvements. 4 easy steps, and you can't really see them right now, aside from, of course, blacking out the threading, but let me take this off and show you again what we did. So not only did we black out the threading, but we added padding to the inside to give it a little more rigidity and structure. The third thing we did was modify this lower webbing piece here to be a real piece of Type 7 webbing. And then we added the pouches on the sides. Now, there's plenty more that we could do with this, but I think this is the state that I want to keep it in, for now at least. Of course, we'll see down the road. But if you enjoyed this kind of video and want to see more like it, let me know in the comments below. Every like, comment, and share that you guys do is greatly appreciated and helps keep this channel running and bringing projects and purchases like this to videos for you. So shout out to all you guys. This is the Gear.Locker. Fix your vest, and let me know if you want me to fix your vest. We'll see you in the next one. Oh my God, this thing looks so much better now.